Hi everybody, I'm Darren Moore and you're watching Reggae Boys Commentary.
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking your time out to watch this video in particular. But let me give you an update on a channel called Sport City. Yes, Sport City. It is a channel dedicated to everything related to Jamaican sports. Football, cricket, athletics, netball, rugby league, rugby union, tennis, lacrosse, swimming, you name it, we got it on Sport City. And what is the channel designed to do? It is designed to highlight Jamaican talents across all of those sporting disciplines. If you're a Jamaican and you're playing that sport, then we got you covered on Sport City. So it's quite simple, guys. Hit the subscribe button to Sport City right now.
Hi, my name's Lee Williamson. Subscribe to Reggae Boys Commentary.
Hi, my name is Joby McAnuff. Subscribe to Reggae Boys Commentary.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? My name is Simon Preston, and welcome back to Reggae Boys Commentary. This is the channel where we come together to discuss everything in relation to Jamaican football. This is your hub for everything Jamaican football related. How are you? How is everyone doing? How was your weekend? Was your weekend exciting? Was your weekend encouraging? How was it? Were you guys able to accomplish everything that you set out to do? As a whole, did your team win? Are you pleased with the progress that has been made? It's a new week. It's a new day. January. Can you believe that? We are in the month of January and it's almost done. Just imagine that. Just process that for a moment. The month is almost done. So, with all of that being said, there are some questions, and I know that it's imperative that you get the answers to those questions. Last week, Tuesday, was the start of camp, and this was in relation to the national team, the domestic-based players being in camp. And I think it's imperative to recap so that there's clarity and everybody's clear about what Coach Halgrimson has said. So that everybody knows expectations, values, what's the next step from here. And that's exactly what we're doing right now with this video in particular. So, folks, if you haven't already, hit the like button and also subscribe. Hit the like button and also subscribe to Reggae Boys Commentary for more content. Smash the subscribe button right now and smash the like button right now. All right, folks, we are this close. Yes, can you believe it? This close to 16,000 subscribers. Time flies, doesn't it? It certainly does. Just process it for a moment. Just process it for a moment. 16. The sweet 16. And you guys are so close to helping us achieving that. How does that make you guys feel? How does that make everybody feel? Well, it's definitely something that you should process. So, Coach Heimir Halgrimsson, he had his first camp with the team quite recently. This was Tuesday and Wednesday of last week. 32 players came into camp. and the camp was held at the Captain Horsburgh Centre of Excellence. And at the camp, specifically the second day of the camp, Coach Halgrimson spoke about getting to know the players and knowing what they're all about. What basically he was saying is that it's I guess the gremlins are with us this morning. So essentially what Coach Halgrimson said was that it's premature to come to any that that's basically what he said. Yeah. That's what needs to be paid attention to. And that's what we have to analyze. Now, with all of that being said, he also made the point that camps of this nature are imperative to see the domestic based players. How you know? Big up, Chatty. So, with that being said now, what Coach Halgrimson has said is this needs to happen more often. The domestic based players need to be in camp more often. And folks, the Costa Ricas of this world, the Panamas of this world, the El Salvadors of this world, all the Central American teams, bar Belize, their domestic players are in camp all year round. So this right here is already building a culture. Do you guys know that in South America, they put their national league on a pause just so that their domestic based players can train together? Peru, Chile, ahead of big World Cup qualifiers. They pause operations. That is how seriously this is taken. I know this is slightly on a tangent, but when Australia took on Uruguay in the qualifiers for the Intercontinental Playoffs for the World Cup for the 2002 and 2006 cycle, arriving in Uruguay, the Australians would tell you was an absolute mess. They're playing noise all night with the beating of the drums, big party. In addition to that, at the airport, they gave them a long time just to go through immigration. So they made everything to make their life uncomfortable. Everything to make their life uncomfortable. So I'm stressing the point that football is a religion in these countries. And I don't think football is a religion here. At least, not yet. Not yet. Football in Jamaica, right now, not a religion. Because even in countries which were the worst hit by COVID, that country still found a way to get 90,000 passionate fans in the final of the European Championship. Jamaica had 7 home games in the World Cup qualifiers. And before Jamaica was mathematically eliminated from the qualifiers, only 1 home game had spectators, and it wasn't even full capacity. It was 1/7 capacity, 5,000 fans. So just imagine the game against Canada. Imagine the game against the Americans. Imagine the game against Mexico, Costa Rica, crucial World Cup qualifiers, where it's either you win or you go home. And they weren't there. So what Coach Heimir Halgrimsson is doing has to be applauded. What Coach Heimir Halgrimsson is doing must be acknowledged, must be applauded as well. These are important components. These are things that you cannot brush aside at all. Coach Halgrimsson is a very, very intelligent, sound mind coach. And he mentioned the point about the defense first approach, where you want to be tactically organized defensively. He's been upfront, candid, honest. So, with all of that being said, just process this now, folks. Wouldn't you be happy keeping clean sheets? And not only that, if Jamaica defeats Mexico 1-0, you would take it, right? If Jamaica defeats the United States 1-0, you would take it, right? Certainly. If Jamaica defeats Costa Rica 1-0, you would take it, wouldn't you? Certainly. And these are important facets, very, very important facets to Coach Heimir Halgrimsson. And as he has said, and as I have said in previous videos, the plan is to have this every other week. So this would be the odd week. So hopefully next week we do have a scenario where there is another domestic-based camp. Maybe it might not be the same 32, but at least you were given this consistency. And I'm sure there will be players there that were there before. So you will have some continuity of some form, some continuity of players. Now, when Coach Heimir Halgrimsson was the coach of his country of birth, which was, of course, Iceland, at the European Championships in 2016, he had a mixed squad. He had players that plied their trade in Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, Belgium, Russia, England, Switzerland, France, Wales, Germany, Denmark, Italy. So it was a mixed squad. Quite a mixed squad. So folks, it was a mixed squad. A very, very mixed squad that Coach Heimir Halgrimsson took to Euro 2016. Players from Scandinavia, players from England, Germany, Italy. So that is what we saw from Coach Halgrimsson at Euro 2016. At the World Cup in 2018 in Russia, what we saw from Coach Heimir Halgrimsson was basically the same. However, he did not ignore domestic-based players. At the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia, Coach Heimir Halgrimsson took with him Birgir Svarsen, a domestic-based player. The squad was little players from the Icelandic League, the Danish League, the Norwegian League, the Dutch League, the Russian League, the EPL, Germany, Denmark, Scotland, Bulgaria, Turkey, Wales, Italy, Sweden, Belgium. That is how diverse the squad was. So the domestic-based players will not be ignored by Coach Heimir Halgrimsson. IS Abdi says, "Morning, Simon. Hope you're well." I'm doing well. How are you doing? Hope you and everybody else are doing okay. WD Wizard says, "Good morning, sir. Thank you. You are doing well. Move blessings away. Move. Big up, big up, big up." Blessings documentary says, "Bless up, Simon. Bless up. Football Global says, bless up, Simon. Bless up, Football Global. How are you doing? Hope everybody's doing well and got the gist of this video in particular that I was making mention to everybody. So it's something that needs to be carefully thought about. And hopefully that it is something that is given serious thought and consideration, because a couple of these domestic-based players could eventually turn to be overseas players. And I say that to say getting contracts in North America, Europe, or even Asia. So from that angle, there has to be some commendation. There has to be something good to speak about here. Now, with all of that being said, what we can do and what we can say is growth, progress. So I'm pleased, genuinely pleased. John Powell says, I'm good, Simon. How are you? Good morning. Good morning, John Powell. How are you doing, sir? I hope you are doing well. Demario McCallum says, any news on John Russell? No news on John Russell. We hope to have him involved in relation to the Nations League games. That is what I'm hoping will happen. Hopefully we get to see that. It's a massive game, as everybody's aware. Win, and you're into the semifinals of the Nations League. So hopefully that is done. Melvin Levy says, morning, Simon. Good morning. How are you doing? Hope you are doing well. How are things? What's new? Do let me know. Tell me how you feel. And if you guys are just tuning in, smash the like button. And after you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. And you share this video with one friend. And if everybody here shares this video with one friend, do you know how much people would have? Double. Demario McCallum says, what about Zach Lovelace? Zach Lovelace's father is still ironing out documents for him so that he can get a Jamaican passport. It's touch and go, and I believe that it's going to be extremely tight in terms of the window for the CONCACAF Nations League, and also in relation to be able to, I think it's going to be a tight window to get the passport. It might be just before, it might be after. So let's see. S Technic Skip says, up, Simon. How you doing, man? Tomorrow says, Loveless. Yeah. Motivation now 876 is big up, Simon. Big up. How are you doing, sir? First time I'm seeing you commented on the channel. If you haven't already, welcome. You're part of the family now. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this video and share the channel with a friend. And also tell them to subscribe as well. All right? Good. Much appreciated. Much appreciated there, man. So, folks, though there's been some conversations as well that camps of this nature should be more frequent than every other week. Personally, I think it should be every week. That's personally how I think. I understand that clubs are going to be reluctant towards it. Those are the clubs playing in the Jamaica Premier League. But, guys, although some of these players are the best players at Cavalier, some of these players are the best players at Portmore, at Arnott Gardens, at Mount Pleasant Academy, at Waterhouse, at Harbourview. Yes, these players are called up to the national camp. I get that. They're the best players for the clubs. But let's think long term, because their involvement within these national camps, eventually involvement on trips overseas, could very much be the difference with them getting a contract overseas, and of course putting something back into the club in terms of a financial sale of a player. So we should look at this as long term. Good things take time time and energy and strength and resources. It takes time. It will come. It will come. Trust me. It will come. Top of the morning, brother Simon. Morning, Mario. Mario. Double D Wizard says every week for the campus, Simon. I personally want it to be every week, 2 days, every single week. That's why I'd love to have it for the domestic based players. That's exactly the way that I would personally want to have it. As I said, I don't know if clubs will be agreeing to it, but I would love to have it every week. Every week, 2 days. And for a compromise, we could do it like this. Goalkeeper workshop, and goalkeepers just have a workshop. You just have that goalkeeper union, 12 to 16 of the best goalkeepers on the island. They have their workshop. And we could do it for other positions as well. Simon, what's your opinion on the footballing knowledge of the Jamaican public? It's quite a general question, Football Global. If I'm being frank with you, I believe that on the island versus whenever I'm in the diaspora, I get differing views, very, very differing views. When I'm on the island here, and depending on the circle that you're in, you'll get different responses. I've been told that Javane Brown is better than Kyle Walker-Peters here on the island. I've also been told that Kaheem Paris is better than Damari Gray right here on this island. And I've also been told on this very, very island that the squad should be 100% Jamaican born. And while I can have a conversation with the first two things that I said, the last thing about the entire squad being 100% Jamaican born, this is my reaction. I'm like, representing Jamaica, you don't have to be born in this country. You don't know what those folks' parents or grandparents had to do to be in that situation. And I'll repeat the example once more, that we know what happened in the 80s under the leadership. We know what happened during Hurricane Ivan. We know what happened when the 80s with the financial and economic hardships that took place. Many families left. And I have to just give God thanks that my parents didn't leave. My mother, my father decided to stay here and work hard. Eventually, I was born on this island, but many families decided to go to Canada, the States, and England during the 80s. People were migrating like, whoa. So I applaud those parents for taking that risk and taking that opportunities. I applaud Adrian Mariappa's mom. I applaud Tiffany Cameron's parents for taking that risk, because they don't know if life was going to be better or worse in Canada or England. But they took that chance. And by taking that chance and by having an offspring, they produce an offspring that are professional football players that are representing our country and performing absolutely sensationally. So, as I said, from a local standpoint on the island, those are the views I get. But in the diaspora, in the US, in the Canada, in the UK, even in countries where there's not a large Jamaican diaspora, like I was in Colombia, and I was also the year before that, as in Dubai. And when I've had conversation with Jamaicans in those areas, the conversations that I've had in relation to Jamaican football is about ensuring the best team takes the field at all times. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Football Global. Every other week feel like a month. It does, doesn't it? In a natural side of things. Simon, do you think that the JFF needs to get a television deal for the national team and the National Premier League? The national team, yes. Men and women, absolutely. But as we know right now, it's a lot of the cable channels, and as we know, 70% of Jamaica does not have cable, so we know the dilemma right there. Big up yourself. Simon says DA football. Big up. I like what the coach is doing, so I have no complaints. As I've said before, it doesn't matter who plays. Once it's the best 11 that takes the field, no matter if they're all born or overseas. Okay. And DA football says so true. Simon, 100%. S Technic Script says, I wouldn't even have a conversation with anyone who thinks all the players be local based. Like I've said, S Technic Script, I've had conversations where persons have said that Ricardo Thomas is better than Dimitri Mitchell, that Ricardo Thomas is better than Ethan Laird. I've had those conversations. Persons have tried to put everything in place to bring that point across. I've had locals that said, Alvis Powell is better than Phil Jones. And, with that, I can say, okay. I've had persons say to me, Kyle Ming is better than Phil Jones. And I'd have to say, yeah, I'll agree with you there, 100%. Phil Jones has not been Phil Jones in a decade. So, yeah, Kyle Ming, I think Kyle Ming, for me, deserves an opportunity. If there's a local player that I think deserves to get a cap, it's Kyle Ming. Simon, I hope that this coach improve our game management so the players can do more. Trust me, motivation on now 876. You ever have a rag, like when you're washing the plates and you put the dishwashing liquid on the sponge and you squeeze the sponge, right? What Coach Halgrimson do will squeeze that sponge so that every single drop is out. So he'll ensure that he gets the maximum out of all the players. And if the players, are not demonstrating, giving their all, then trust me, they will be replaced. And those that are hungry on the bench will get those opportunities. So that's something to ponder on. That's something to consider. So let that sink in and let that stay with you as well. Interesting, isn't it? Oh, something that we can be mindful of. So, yeah. Lawrence Johnson says, I believe a local player can be better than a foreign player. I'm not going to use the terms local and foreign. I'm not going to use that at all. Ian Campbell, good morning. How are you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well. Hope the family are doing good. So just to catch you up to speed with everything, since you're just tuning in, if you haven't already, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. So Coach Halgrimson said it's premature to make judgments on the domestic-based players as he's only had 2 days with them. So what I would say is imperative is that for these camps, I would love to have it every week, but as Coach Halgrimson said in the interview, that it would be every other week. So that is something that we're going to make keen and special attention to, and hopefully clubs can continue to be understanding and think long term about this. So hopefully that is something that we can make note of. Me wouldn't even bench low for Phil Jones. You don't rate him, Phil Jones? B. Douglas says, one Jamaica. It doesn't matter where you're from. For me, the best team takes the field. So, That's what I want to see. The best team take the field at all times. And once the best team takes the field for me, then all is well. I just want the best team to take the field, that's all. And once that can happen, then all is well. The best team to take the field at all time, folks. A lot of scouts watch YouTube. Norman Campbell was scouted by an Italian club. Yep, that is correct. He was watched and was also observed by Watford as well. Simon, you might not want to use the term, but it's facts, just like Andrew. No way, say you saying in his statement. The best players are not always playing in EFL Championship. I get that. Jordan McCarthy says the energy is positive from this coach. Yep. Very much so. Very, very positive. Very positive. It's a good look. Improved the local team only will strengthen our squad and the overseas players coming. Because think about it. Local players staying sharp, the domestic based players playing sharp, so that when there are camps, when you have the overseas based players together, you're keeping the overseas players on their toes as well. So that will increase efficiency, and of course, it'll eventually lead to headaches when it comes to team selection for games. It's so funny that the same people who think our local players are so great run around with other countries' flags during World Cup. Trenchstone was like Brazil. When you see the videos on social media and see how everybody have on a Brazil shirt, I was like, whoa, is this Rio de Janeiro, Rio de Jamaica, or Rio de Janeiro, or Rio de Trenchstone? Lawrence Johnson says, why can't we get real EPL players? What do you mean real EPL players? I don't understand you. Mikel Antonio is EPL, isn't he? Bobby Reed is EPL, isn't he? Adrian Mariappa has played 10 seasons within the English Premier League. So what do you mean by that statement, Lawrence? Simon, how's the under-17 camp going? Progressing nicely. As you know, the UK-based contingent are not there. They're working on passports. Out of love the UK-based players to be there, but they're not. So that's the situation. Demar Gray, the JFF has summoned you to be a part of their national team. Him can't say no to that. If there was a statement of that nature, yeah. Interesting thought process, isn't it? Yeah, I fully get what you mean. Something to ponder on, something really, really to think about there. Damari Gray, Leicester City. Well, start at Birmingham City to Leicester to Bayer Leverkusen to Everton. Played for a lot of blue sides. Birmingham, Leicester, Everton. A lot of sides in blue he's played for. A lot of sides in blue. So if the JPL clubs want to sell players, they must show the games on YouTube. It's modern times and the JFF football is still hiding. Interesting idea, Mario. Lawrence Russian, Simon, you know what I mean? An elite 10 EPL ball at them over England right now. Does Ivan Toney count in bracket? Simon, foolishness you are talk. There is no way a player can be in camp and playing JPL and be on the level of playing in the EPL or Championship. I never said that, sir. I never said that, Chris. What I said was that when you do have the overseas players in contingent, you're keeping the overseas players on their toes. So when you're in training, when you're giving your 100% effort, the overseas players will also need to match that for effort. We're not talking about technical ability. We're talking about effort. That is what we're discussing right now, sir. That is the discussion right now. So yeah. That's the conversation that we're having. We're not talking about technical ability, sir. We're talking about tenacity, heart, soul, passion, desire. That is what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about. Yes, indeed. That's something to pay keen and special attention to, isn't it? Well, folks, you're going to see some content put out throughout the course of today and this week. Some very, very interesting tidbits that I know you guys will be intrigued about, and you'll hear some information about potentially a team going to Holland in April. I'll give you the guys updates in relation to that, and a few more, minimum 2 more videos to push out today, maybe 3, but that's what you can look out for. At least 2 videos to be pushed out today, 2 more I should say, and possibly 3. I'd love to see Jamaica football producing players that can play in EPL and the lower leagues in England. Yeah. One step at a time. Carter Fuller, Gardner, Leon Bailey. Ricketts was at Bolton but didn't get to play. Claude Davis. Damar Phillips joined Stoke but never got to play in the EPL. We also had Jermaine Teddy Johnson, so we're just gonna have to give it some time. That's all we're gonna have to do. Give it just a little bit of time. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already, smash the like button, and after that, hit the subscribe button as well to Reggae Boys Commentary for more content. All right, so that is something. Why are we not doing that anymore? What's the problem? The reality, Mario Russell, is that the stocks in Jamaican players have fallen. So if you realize the Damian Stewart, the Claude Davis was essentially like the last generation, the Omar Dailies were the last generation of those players, Jamaican-born players that went to England. The performances basically that Stewart and Claude Davis had, the stocks of Jamaican players started to fall. When English clubs started to look in other directions for players. So it's about trying to rebuild that bridge to get Jamaican players into England more often. So it's going to take time, perhaps another half a decade. Leon Bailey is a start, and hopefully the next one after that can follow suit in a positive manner. So, yeah. Simon, I see you pick teams all the time, and you have King and Lowe over Pinnock when Pinnock is rated as one of the best centre-backs in the EPL. Yeah, Pinnock does play for me whenever it comes to that back 3. I'm not ignoring Pinnock. Pinnock is not ignored for me at all. Not at all. What causes this to happen? Well, I hope I answered that question in terms of the response that I gave. The performances that Jamaican players gave when they're in the Premier League, the relegations that Claude Davis had didn't help at all. And as you guys know, Ricardo Gardner and Fuller, 2012, the last season, and the next time that we saw a Jamaican-born reggae boy in the EPL was almost a decade later. So it's up to Leon Bailey now to strut his stuff in the Premier League and to show what Jamaicans are capable of. And it's up to him to ensure that this is something that can open up more doors for other Jamaican-born players on the island as well. So, folks, what are your thoughts? I am by no means dismissing Pinnock's quality, and never have I. It'll be compelling to see how he operates in that back four. I'm not saying that he can't. So if you have Pinnock as the left centre half, it'll be interesting to see the next angle of things. Not really, Simon. It's a rule change for our players going to England. Rudy Austin, Kamar Daly went to England too. Yeah, but the work permit situation there, it really didn't help things. So our rankings going down was a big factor to it as well. Big factor. The rule in relation to the being ranked in the top 50 and so on. So it could have meant that Rudolph Austin Tony Pulis tried to sign him twice at Stoke City. It's known worldwide that he was wanted. Eventually going to Leeds United. Amongst others, Kamar Daly went to Preston. But I was mainly talking about EPL, Dwayne, not Championship and League One. I was mainly talking EPL because Dane Richards did sign for a team in the Championship, Burnley at the time. So yeah, all right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Reggae Boys Commentary for more content. More appeals to come your way. So do you think King and Lowe better than Pinnock in a back four? No. Ethan Rupert Pinnock is not only the only current Jamaican defender starting in the Premiership, he's one of the best central defenders in the league. Yep. Why are we moving backward and not forward? This is how I know that our football is not improving like it used to. Yep. And that's the truth, that we need to move up in the rankings. And if Jamaica can get into the top 30 in the rankings, top 35 in the rankings by the end of this calendar year, I think that would be considered a success. And that, of course, opens up other doors as well. Who knows? Probably Boza to England eventually. That would be an interesting side, wouldn't it? But yes, very sound points that you've made quite early. That's what I'd love to see. We want Low. We want Low off out of the side. Reece Oxford. Reece still has ambitions for England. Simon C. come with the false notion that Pinnock can only play in the back three when you see him play back two regularly, and he's very outstanding. I've never come with a false notion that he can only operate in a back three. I've even said on this platform on numerous occasions that he can play in a back four. I've said that many times. Many times. The reality of the situation is Jamaica deserves to be a top 3 team in this region. Deserves? Well, you have to work for it. Have to work for it, Trent. And that starts with the CONCACAF Nations League coming up. It starts then against Mexico. And after that, the Gold Cup. By beating Mexico, Jamaica takes a massive jump in the rankings. Massive jump in the rankings. Massive jump in the rankings. A victory over Mexico, and things change for the better. You guys will see. Smash the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. 2 more videos, 3 more videos to go for today.
This video is brought to you by MPEC Printery, specializing in t-shirt printing, posters, and shipping from the USA. Call 876-775-6692 or 876-337-7374. Andy Gone Nuts. 100% guaranteed fresh coconut water delivered straight to your door. Call 876-309-6128. That's 876-309-6128. Refreshing and affordable. For more information, follow them on Instagram at Andy Gone Nuts. Truly refreshing. And Crumble by Mrs. C. Old English fudge and other delectable sweet treats. Call or WhatsApp 876-586-0471. That's 876-586-0471. This video is also brought to you by BLC Jamaica Security Electronics, specializing in alarm system, video surveillance, camera system or CCTV, barrier system, gate automation and access control. Call 876-320-7711. That's 876-320-7711 or 876-351-1105. That's 876-351-1105.